Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 134 of the Seezus Show, aka the start of season 3. I know it's been a very, very long time, but I kind of wanted to treat this time as an actual off season. You know, things kind of happen along the way, go through trials and tribulations, but I'm glad to be back. Glad to be consistent with you guys, and I'm excited for season 3 as well too. So, like I normally always do, season 2 was a success. Had a great time. Invited Terrence, invited Carl. Those two are my consistent co-hosts. So I appreciate you guys coming along as well too for this journey and see where things kind of take us as well too. To rehash the last episode of season 2, which was episode 133, it was Carl, myself, and Terrence Whaley, and basically we just gave our afterthoughts on the finals, and ended up being a crazy off season. So NBA is definitely a reoccurring cycle, so I love it. Always some things to talk about as well too, but I'm more excited to talk about things that have just transpired, NBA Media Day, all that good stuff as well too. But before we get into today's hottest topics, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for my co-host Carl Conyers.
What's good, everybody?
How you been, man?
Been all right, man. Long days, but I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you having me here.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to, honestly, like we were saying just before this started, I'm just very much looking forward to this next season.
Yeah, man. So did you start your NBA fantasy basketball league already?
Nah, because the NBA don't start until Halloween.
Okay, well, I'm down again. I'm probably going to lose again because I just pick players that always get hurt, but we'll see what happens this year. I'm down.
Well, hopefully with what we're going to talk about, people going to play a little bit more this year. We'll see.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, so yeah, let's get into the hottest topics. Ooh, sorry about that one. Get into the hottest topics. We can go ahead and get started now. Terrence is MIA right now, a little sick, under the weather, so we will see him next episode. So let's get started right now. The moment we all been waiting for. Damian Lillard, man, we've been talking episodes on episodes about loyalty versus X, Y, and Z. He finally left a situation from Portland. Obviously, we all thought, the whole world thought he was going to go to Miami. It just seemed like it was just a match made in heaven, which it could have been a match made in heaven, but this might be a better match made in heaven. So there was a blockbuster trade not too long ago. The Bucks received Damian Lillard, and then Jrue Holiday got traded to the Blazers. DeAndre Ayton got traded to the Blazers. The Bucks also gave up their 2029 first-round pick, unprotected, and then swap rights on the Bucks 2028 and 2030 pick as well, too. Now, we're going to dive into, the Celtics, the Blazers, but let's focus on not only Damian Lillard, but the Bucks. What are your thoughts, my guy?
One, I just want to echo. It's crazy. I think everybody thought he was going to end up with the Heat. And it did seem like an amazing situation. So it's crazy that not only did he get traded somewhere else, but to me, I feel like it's definitely a better situation. Which it's I think that's really the best outcome for everybody. I'm really excited. I think Dame next to Giannis, like Dame's mentioned, like the pick and roll with them, I feel like it's going to be crazy. Then you combine, you have a team now that can make up for a lot of Dame's defensive deficiencies, especially in Brook Lopez and Giannis. I don't think he's ever played with an all-defense caliber player.
Yeah.
Outside of Tybal came last year, but he didn't make that team last year, So I think those guys playing together, the way that they're going to be able to cover each other up, because we all know, Giannis can, of course, get you 30 and 12 easy, but he's not really the guy you want taking jump shots and stuff at the end of games. And so that's where Chris Middleton used to come in handy. Now you have Chris Middleton and Dame. And so it feels like now, Chris Middleton's kind of been injury prone. So it feels as if even now if he does miss time, it's not going to be as dire as it was before for them. So, it's exciting. I think the league outdoes itself every year with all the drama and everything. But, I think this is great for everybody.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Like you said, Dame has never played with another superstar. So it's going to be great to see how things pan out. I mean, there's a couple of red flags right now. Defensively, I'm just worried about how they're going to be on the perimeter, but rim protection is going to be great. They got Bobby Portis, they got Giannis, who's been Defensive Player of the Year before, right? And then they got Brook Lopez as well, too. So I like that. But like you said, Chris Middleton hasn't been healthy these past 2 years. We'll see what happens with that. But like you said, that pick and roll is going to be crazy. And now Giannis really can kind of sit back and let Middleton and Dame close. So that's one thing. Even when we watched last year in the playoffs, like even though Giannis was hurt, those games he came back, they were relatively pretty close games, but they just could not close, and they were just turnover prone as well too. So I'm excited to see how things pan out. I think it's one of those things where they're just going to seamlessly just work out. Obviously, a lot of teams, when they have superstars come together, it's a little growing period. But I think they're going to start off relatively pretty strong as well, too. I'm also I don't really know too much about their head coach situation as well, too, him being a rookie. So that's going to be interesting to kind of –
Who is the head coach now?
I don't remember his name. But someone – I guess Giannis just greenlit it. So we'll see how that pans out as well, too. But, man, speaking of Cronin, you think it was some beef he had with Pat Riley?
At first – on the first trade, I did think, like, this isn't even better than what you were going to get from the Heat. Mm-hmm. But now that they've also flipped Jrue, it was the best trade. It's crazy. I feel like it was the best trade out there for them, mm-hmm. and it was the best situation for Dame. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's really I don't really have even if it came to it not being as great of a trade, I don't think it had anything to do with Pat Riley. I think it had everything to do with him feeling like he didn't want to get pushed around.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see that as well too. And he's a new GM. He wants to he wants things to kind of go his way as well too. So I mean, I respect it as well too. Like you said, he kind of flipped all that into multiple first round picks, and he got the big man that he was looking for. So we're going to see how things kind of pan out with that. With Dame and Giannis together, what do you think they're going to be that? Because I remember last year we were talking about, top duos as far as like scoring wise combined. You think they're going to be? You think they're going to be up there?
I definitely do. I mean, you have two guys who just last season averaged 30. So of course I don't think that's going to happen, but I think they could each average north of 25, mm-hmm. And then have Chris Middleton come in somewhere 18. Get your usual 15 out of Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez. So, yeah, I don't know if I see them as, like, the highest scoring duo next year. Mm-hmm. Especially, honestly, I feel like that might end up being, they added Beal, so I'm not sure. But I think it might be KD and Book. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting with Beal as well, too. I remember last year I said it was going to be Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah.
I think I'm still sold on Luka and Kyrie. We'll see. Where do you see I mean, obviously injuries play a huge thing as well too, but where do you see, because the East is top heavy yet again, but where do you see the Bucks ending up this year, seeding wise?
I think this year there's a clear cut 1-2. I don't think it's really close. I mean, the Heat, of course, would probably be like third, but that's just based off of, I feel like you have to have respect for them. But I still can't act like they're a great regular season team. Mm-hmm. And even the past 2 times they made it to the finals, they were not a great regular season team. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a clear-cut Bucks and Celtics. Okay. I don't see anybody even being close. To me, Cleveland, I thought Cleveland might have been close, but to me, they proved last year in the playoffs they're not really there yet.
Lights too bright.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't really see it being anyone. The only one I feel like could stop them from, I guess, meeting in the conference finals would be Miami, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. The super team stopper. Cool. So Jrue Holiday obviously got traded to the Blazers, and then obviously there was reports he's going to get traded immediately as well too. I was thinking it was either going to be Miami, the Clippers, or the Boston Celtics. Obviously Boston had a lot of assets as well too, and he ended up on the Boston Celtics. So Celtics gave up
them too,
right?
I feel like they had all these picks forever, and they just every time somebody was up, they're like, we're just gonna keep all these picks. So.
Exactly. So they gave up Malcolm Brogdon, they gave up Robert Williams, and they gave up 2 first-round draft picks as well too. What are your thoughts on Jrue Holiday to the Celtics?
I think it's great. I mean, especially for losing Robert Williams is really tough for them, but he honestly has been very injury prone the last couple of years. So they've had to play a lot without him. And even when he has played, most of the time they've had him on a minutes restriction because he's coming back from an injury or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough, but I feel like it's something they've kind of already been without. And then Malcolm Brogdon disappeared last year in the playoffs. Whether it was injury or whatever, I don't think that they're not going to miss something that they didn't really have. And also, clearly he still has some type of injury because that's why I can't remember what trade it was.
Trade to the Clippers.
Exactly, yeah. So I think the Celtics improved because you already had traded away Marcus Smart. So now you're bringing in another defensive guard to replace him, who I feel like everybody feels like Jrue Holiday's a better defender than Marcus Smart.
Hell yeah.
And then Derek White had become their best perimeter defender at the end of the year. So now you have two top-tier perimeter defenders. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are good at defense. And you still have 3,900-year-old Al Horford down there holding down the fort. So, and they got Porzingis. I forgot about that. Yeah, so I think for them this was a great trade. They didn't really lose a whole lot, and they gained a lot.
Yeah.
And really, for me, the last thing is the ball handler aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Marcus Smart was a makeshift point guard. Jrue is really a point guard, and he'll lighten that load where we see so many turnovers out of Brown and Tatum.
Yeah, I was literally about to say as well, too. They finally get the quintessential point guard they were kind of looking for as well, too, because injury history with Malcolm Brown, like you said, and then also Marcus Smart as well, too. Offensively, they got firepower, man. I don't really see any weaknesses, and I'm trying to figure out what their starting lineup is going to be in my head right now. I think they're just going to try to go big to start off. So I think Al Horford is going to be in the front court with Porzingis, and they're going to have Tatum at the 3, Brown at the 2, and Jrue at the 1. Yep. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like that's exactly what it's going to be. Probably Al at the – honestly, I don't know how they're going to do 4 and 5. I would say Al should be the 4 because he's smaller, but Porzingis is one of those guys who doesn't like playing center even though he's a center. So
yeah. I wonder how that pick and roll going to be, though, with both of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the greatest thing is they have spacing.
Yeah. Their
bigs can shoot, and all their wings and guards can shoot. Mm-hmm. So their pick and roll with whoever is going to be pretty dangerous because you can't really, help off of anybody.
That's going to be crazy. I think they're actually going to end up being the number 1 seed in the East. Second time around with Joe. Looked at his NBA media day. It looks like he's locked in, and he's really keying in on defense this year as opposed to offense. So I'm kind of looking forward to that as well, too, because that's one thing they kind of lost their defensive identity once Ime Udoka left.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that as well, too.
Did he get another job?
He's on Houston,
Rockets? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm curious to see their bench, though. I know in the playoffs it gets cut down to 7-8 players, but I wonder how their bench is going to. Derek White, Luke Cornett.
Damn, actually, I don't know any of their
Pritchard.
Because
that rookie that they got.
Williams, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Pritchard don't play in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, apparently for media day, he's going to – Brad Stevens, I don't think it's up to him. Brad Stevens said he wanted him to stay because he wants him to have a bigger role. We'll see. So it looks like Derek White, Pritchard, Luke Cornett, the rookie that they have, but they don't normally play rookies too much like that. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious to see how things kind of pan out for them as well, too. So this should be the Eastern Conference Finals preview, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at that is going to be something. I feel like the Celtics have been pretty deep the past couple of years, and I'm looking at their reserves. Derek White, yes, is going to be great, but Peyton Pritchard, I guess maybe they're saying he's improved. We'll see. And then it's Luke Cornett, O'Shea Brissett, and Sam Hauser. So that is going to be kind of tough.
They're definitely going to stagger.
They have a lot of their whole starting lineup is great though. So
you think they got the best starting 5 right now on paper? I think it might be between them and the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks starting 5 is nice too. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So and honestly, I don't know what. Well, their center's probably not going to be that good. But I was going to say the Warriors.
Ew, Draymond Green out too for like 6 weeks.
Oh, what happened?
High ankle sprain.
Damn.
Yeah, they said They said this today. They came out with a report from Steve Kerr, and he said that I'm assuming he thinks Clay's like completely washed now defensively as far as perimeter defense goes. They said to start off the year he's going to guard fours. Yeah, so right now the projected start line, or at least going into preseason, CP at the 1, Steph at the 2, Wiggins at the 3, Clay at the 4, and Looney at the 5. And they old too. I mean, Looney's what, 27, Wiggins like 28.
Yeah, Looney and Wiggins are smooth, but the other ones is old. Steph though,
Steph has gotten better over the years.
Steph is one of those, like, I only say LeBron type person only because of just the longevity of it. Like, we don't usually see, like, LeBron skews it, but at 35, people aren't still in their prime, and like Steph hasn't slowed down at all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. And the GOAT himself, dominating, got traded to the Blazers. Obviously, there's been rumors these past couple of years of his relationship with Monty as well, too, and then wanting to get paid, wanting to be more involved in the offense as well, too. Well, today is his lucky day. He got traded to the Blazers. And then last year, Ayton came off of relatively great year considering the option that he was in that offense. 18 points per game, 10 rebounds, 59% from the field, 76% from the free throw line, and he's going to be earning $30 million this year. So right now, looks like Cronin did well. Like I said earlier, the current construction of that roster for the time being, we don't know where these two are going to end up at right now, but they got Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, obviously, their first-round pick is Scoot Henderson. They got Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, Kevin Knox II, Chris Murray, Matisse Thybulle, Shaedon Sharpe, Justice Winslow, and like I said, 5 future first-round picks. What are your thoughts?
Keegan Murray's brother, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and he's solid, too. I saw him in Summer League when I was in Vegas. But what are your thoughts on Ayton to the Blazers, man, and the Blazers in general?
Kind of like we was talking about a little bit before. I think the Blazers did a really good job in navigating through this whole situation and holding out until they were able to find the best deals for everything. I know they already came out and said that they are going to be trading Malcolm Brogdon.
Okay, so
they don't want to add any more. They don't want any guards to take away.
Too guard heavy, yeah.
Yeah, from Scoot and Anthony and Shaedon. So we know he's gonna be gone. But otherwise, I think, and we did discuss this a little bit. Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton to me are not too, unless DA about to come out and start shooting threes all of a sudden, they don't really need to share the court.
He got that little pick and pop.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that they are going to move Robert Williams because I feel like they're both starting centers. Mm-hmm. And so I would just kind of hate for him to have to be relegated to small role.
It's crazy because earlier you said, obviously, he's been injured these past couple of years and plays, restricted minutes. So, I mean, it could potentially work if DeAndre's playing, 30, 35, and then he gets that 15, 20, maybe. I don't know.
But I feel like that's, if, say, like right now, he's going to be coming into the season healthy. He's not going to, it's understandable when you're coming off the injury, but I just feel like he's not going to want to be playing just 15 minutes because he knows he can. I was the starting center on a Western Conference Finals team. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we'll see, but I like their team is young. They, I feel like, have a direction in their rebuild already, which is very nice considering a lot of teams go into rebuilds and it kind of just feels aimless. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we have to see if these guys are going to pan out. But I think Shaedon already looked nice. Anthony can at least get you buckets. Mm-hmm. We already know DeAndre Ayton at least is going to give you 18 and 10.
At minimum, yeah.
Exactly. So
you think his productivity is going to go up this year? Because I think it's going to go up this year, but by year 2, Scoot, I think Scoot's going to kind of just take over. Especially getting paid $30 a year.
It'll be interesting because if his points do go up, his field goal percentage I feel like is going to come down a lot because since Chris Paul got there, he was never really having to work for his shot.
That's true.
He was pretty much just getting pick and rolls with one of the best point guards of all time.
Yeah.
So I think that will be interesting if he does have an expanded game, we'll finally get to see more of it. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but I feel like in the system they had, it was never really put on display. So, I mean, the biggest thing about him is he's young. I feel like he still can potentially get better. A lot of times as well with these young players, like if, you're not liking where you're at and you actually finally get to a new environment where it's better for everybody, sometimes that can bring out better play as well. But, yeah, like you're saying, I don't really expect him to be the star of this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be – to me, I think it's going to end up being their backcourt of Shaedon and Scoot. Yeah. And I think Anthony is going to be a really high-level, like, Jordan Clarkson type six-man.
Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. And Chauncey Billups is there, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure he already has the respect from him. And I think he's going to get the best out of not only, the young players he has, but definitely out of Ayton as well, too.
Yeah, and they did. I heard this as well. They're looking to trade Jeremy Grant, but they can't do it until like halfway through the season.
Yeah, because he got that deal, right?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I mean on paper they look good, but yeah, if you said Malcolm going, Robert Williams probably going to go. They're just gonna be OKC at that point, just flipping them. So
yeah, I mean I think that's going to be even better. Like they'll probably get another young player that gives you more. Jeremy Grant doesn't need to be getting minutes on this team because they're not trying to be good, So.
No, that makes sense. Okay, cool. James Harden is the latest saga as well, too. Yesterday, he didn't attend media day and training camp. Looks like he's seeking a trade. And then Woj came out again as well, too. James Harden wants a trade. He wants to make the 76ers uncomfortable. So uncomfortable, ultimately, they don't think they'll get the best out of him and make a trade as well, too. Obviously, we know this guy has been a mercenary, unsatisfied in Houston, came in basically a fat suit, got traded to the Nets, ended up quitting on the Nets, forced his way to the 76ers, and now he wants his way out of the 76ers right now. Last year, they could have easily went to the conference finals / NBA finals, but looks like, the lights were too bright for them as well, too. But, Harden had a great year, about, 21 points, led the league in assists. Damn near averaged a triple-double as well, too. But it looks like, to me, the biggest thing was he got promised him on the back end getting paid by taking that pay cut last year, and Daryl Morey isn't trying to give him the money from what he's been told, so it makes sense why he's disgruntled. But at the end of the day, you can't trust these people, you know what I'm saying, in positions of power as well, too. What are your thoughts on this whole situation with James Harden, man? Why he leaving my boy Joel and be hanging, man?
Man, that's what's so tough about this is I just feel like Joel, when you really look at it, the Sixers have been a dysfunctional organization for like the last 10, 15 years. Like, seriously, even like throughout the process thing and how they were treating all their players then, like they were basically, trying to be bad every year. And then they got a guy, for instance, like look at Nerlens Noel. Okay, when you can play, we'll let you get a bunch of minutes. Now we're bad again. We're going to get another person, cut your minutes and make you, have no development, no confidence in yourself as a player. They did the same thing to Jahlil Okafor, and then they just got lucky with Embiid.
Yeah.
That's literally it. They don't have any type of player development. Most of their players clearly get disgruntled, want to leave, or do leave. I think it's tough for him. That's really first my biggest takeaway is I feel bad for Joel. But also, just last thing on that, I think Joel needs to do better himself. But
light's too bright.
Yeah. But Harden, it's crazy to me that we're at a point where he's now trying to force his way off a third team. Like you said, you came into Houston in a fat suit, forced your way out. Mm-hmm. Then you didn't like how things were going in Brooklyn. Midway through the second season, you forced your way out.
Yeah.
Now here we are, again, only 1.5 seasons in, and you're trying to force your way out. So to me, it's like, where can you really go? I know they're saying the Clippers, but who's to say that they are willing to give up any real, like, of course, if we can get him for nothing, yeah, we'll take James Harden. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to give up any real assets for someone who
is a rental.
He's on the last year of his deal anyway, isn't he? Because he just opted in.
Yeah,
he's
right.
Only on 1 year anyway. And who's to say he doesn't try and quit halfway through this 1 year?
That'd be nuts.
I just wouldn't have any faith in it. Unless you can think of anybody, I don't know any player that's even forced their way out twice of a team.
Kyrie?
That one I feel like is a little different, only because once Harden left, it wasn't it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is okay. So, but also, Kyrie was dealing with the exact same thing. Like, who really wants him on their team?
Mm-hmm.
Is he really worth the trouble? And so, like, there's only one other person that's done it twice. He's done it 3 times now.
Yeah. Now that's nasty.
And you can't. I just feel like you can't trust that in your locker room. You don't want to bring that attitude around a lot of your other, especially if you have younger players on your team.
Like, do you think the players are understanding towards his side of it? Like, they're like, all right, like, I understand you want your money, so do what you got to do, or there's part of them like, yo, come on, bro, what the fuck?
I mean, I'll say they're all saying the right things. They especially, you know, it's media day, so they asked a lot of his teammates about it. They're all saying the right things, but I feel like you have to, you know, internally, I know there's some sense of like, damn, you know, we only got 1 or 2 tries at this. It's not like you played you had some games for sure, but it's not like you were carrying us through anything either. So just to say that, you know, we feel like we can all do better, and you have to build some type of chemistry. I know we're talking about like Dame and the Bucks and other things. I think that's a little different to me. But even with them, I feel like next year they will be better. I feel like they can still win this year, but next year they will be better just from having that continuity. So I think it's tough to not know, especially honestly with this Sixers team. You know, this is the second time in the last 3 or so years where you're coming into training camp in the season not really knowing what your team's going to look like, and one of that piece is a star player.
And I feel bad for Nick Nurse as well, too. I wouldn't even have taken the job. Like, I feel like Nick Nurse would have been better suited for I feel like I knew they were going to keep Joe, but, like, if he took the Bucks job, like, that would have been even better. Or the Houston job, I thought he was going to take that. But, like, how does he – because I feel like he took the job knowing that Harden would be there long term. But if Harden was out, like, you got to scratch everything off now. And that kind of sucks. That's unfair to him. But
especially to be real, who can the Clippers trade that is going to anywhere near replace the value of Harden?
Well, I'm looking at salaries first, so they'll probably try to get expiring contracts plus young talent. So maybe like a Marcus Morris Sr. to go with like a reunion back with Robert Covington, and then they probably get like Tyrese Maxey and draft picks in the deal or something like. Not Tyrese Maxey, I'm sorry, Terrence Mann in the contract. I mean,
and that what
I mean, all you got is him and Norman Powell.
I was literally like, Norman Powell is honestly, to me, Norman Powell is the best asset they have. Robert Covington didn't even play for like the second half of last year
at all. Yeah.
So they just don't, and nobody. That's for sure. And we're not taking Russell Westbrook for sure for James Harden. So I just don't like, if it does happen. Similar to what just happened with the Blazers, I definitely don't think it's going to be the team that he wants, because the team that he wants can't put the best deal out there.
So where do you think he's going to go? If you had because it's going to be a contender.
And you're also dealing with, I don't know, but I feel like the main thing is you're dealing with also, you know, a lot of other teams. It would be easy to just be like, okay, well, we know we're not going to replace him in players, but we'll get X amount of picks and other stuff like that. But you know, you already have an aging superstar who's injury prone. So the deeper we get into Embiid's career, his knees are only going to get worse. And you're in a time now where you have to really try and maximize right now versus trying to have any, plans for 3 or 4 years down the line.
Damn, if Harden's not playing too, that's more minutes for Embiid. Like you said, injury prone, so a lot of wear and tear. And then when it's the time that matters the most, playoffs, playoffs time, he's going to be worn down. That's what always happens. He gets worn down.
He need to come out and just average like 25 and stop trying to lead the league in scoring.
Yeah. I mean, he got the MVP out of the way now, so now he just probably cares about chips.
MVP, too. Yoke really should have won the 3rd in a row.
Yeah. That's a tough one, man. Yeah, because I feel like Joel Embiid's at that point where he just wants to win now. And I don't think he's going to be in that Dame type of situation. So I can see them if they, let's say, because Joel Embiid's good enough with the talent, excluding James Harden, to get you to the playoffs, but I can see him getting knocked out the first round, and then he probably wants to force his way out too.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what happens with James Harden, man. That's going to be interesting, man. So the Lakers had a media day, and LeBron James came out and flat out said that Anthony Davis is the face of the franchise as well too. And that's one thing I want to ask you, like, is it even possible to overshadow LeBron? Like, obviously LeBron's aging now, but for me, it's like, when we think of the new era, it's LeBron James. Like, whenever LeBron James is on a team, even if he plays bad, it's his players didn't play well enough. You know what I'm saying? There's always things centered around him as well too. Is it even possible to be the face of the franchise? Like, I know Anthony Davis probably going to be he's going to be the focal point of that offense, and they have enough, I think, depth where LeBron James can give you 20 to 24 points a game and just be more of a floor general, like how James Harden is now. But what are your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, I think, LeBron's smart. He always knows what he's doing. This is more of, this is your team versus like you can't be nobody but LeBron James. Even if LeBron was on a team with Steph, I feel like he would still be the face of the team, So that's just not a reality. But what is him, again, for the second time publicly trying to say, hey, AD, take the torch.
Right?
Be the man on this team.
40.
Like, yes, bro.
Like,
that's really what I feel like he's putting him, in that seat of, you should be the one who is the go-to, who's really getting us there because you have that potential. Last year he was great. He was amazing defensively in the playoffs, and when he had the size advantage, he was great as well. But we need you to be consistently great on both ends like you were in New Orleans and your first year here.
Yeah.
It's not as if that's, asking like for something that he's never done before. So I think that's the real thing, is just trying to say this is your time to finally, hopefully, take over.
Yeah, we're going to see. I mean, the Lakers got, like I said, Anthony Davis has the team built around him now. LeBron, D'Angelo Russell, Christian Wood, Torian Prince, Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, Canton Reddish, X, Y, and Z. So they should be all right this year.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like, they got a lot of quality role players.
Who have been battle tested, too, in some shape or form. And because that was what, mid-season trade. So now they should come off to a hot start, I think.
We hope.
But the West crazy, man. Wild, Wild West. I wanted to talk to you guys about the NBA player policy. So according to the NBA new policy, set to be implemented the start of the season for star players, that is, players who have been named to an all-star or all-NBA team in the previous 3 seasons cannot miss nationally televised or playing games or be shut down without a valid reason. However, there are exceptions to the new policy specifically for players who are over 35 years old or have played at least 34,000 minutes in the NBA. So these players, the players that can receive this rest in those scenarios, there's obviously LeBron, Steph, KD, and I think James Harden as well too. But what are your thoughts on the NBA player participation policy?
I think it's good for the league at large. I think it'll be interesting to see how it comes into play with a lot of players. Like, for instance, they asked Kawhi about it at his media day, and he was like, "Well, I'm actually injured." And a lot of times, there of course are times where they do list them as like rest or whatever, but a lot of times they'll just say, he has a small injury. So, and so I wonder how that, our team's just going to start listing things as injuries to get their players time off.
Always loopholes for sure.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think, of course, overall, it's a good thing. Players need to play. That's what you're being paid for. It's a product, and it's, for the fans.
Okay. How excited are you about the in-season tournament? I mean, that's something that's going to be new, and I feel like their push is obviously, for more viewership, fans to tap in earlier as well too. And obviously, there's so many great teams, so many, narratives out there that it sucks that there can only be one champion, but I kind of like their model that they kind of go on, like, with the Premier League and Champions League and whatnot, with the in-season tournament within the NBA itself. But what are your thoughts on that this year?
I don't know.
It's one of the things we just got to see how
I really I want to be excited for it.
Yeah.
But I really do think, at least for me, it's one of those things that until we see how this first one plays out, I really don't know how to feel about it, because it's hard for me to really see the true significance behind it. But of course, I know like the teams are going to get some extra money and some other stuff like that. But what's going to really are they going to play this with playoff intensity? Is this going to feel like, one of those types of games?
Because AD was like, the West is already stacked. We want home court advantage. So, like, it's still a regular season game until you get to that the championship game, per se. It's still a regular season game. So we're going to want to win. We're going to want to fight for positioning, So I think it works, maybe.
Yeah. I just think that it's 82 games.
82 is a lot.
And it's hard for – I think, of course, with that, they're trying to place more importance on some of these regular season games. But I just think it's hard for players to, have that same intensity as they have during the actual postseason. That's why I say we'll see. They might prove me wrong, and then, they know which of these games are supposed to be their cup games, and they play with crazy intensity, and it's really fun to watch. And maybe those will be the games that, people are more paying attention to and looking forward to. But I just think, we have to wait and see how it plans out. But I will give them credit. I feel like pretty much all the rule changes and additions and stuff like that the league's had in the past couple of years have been great. So
yeah, because I was very unsure about the plan.
Really,
and now I love it.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. Shout out to Russ for making that hot, because I remember the Wizards was down and he just went stupid, and that made me want to pay attention to 6 through 10 seed now. So.
And then you got that for sure. The play-in made the end of the season matter more. Yeah. Because a lot of those teams that were kind of on the bubble, they were like, oh, we'll just tank, now actually have more incentive to try and win games. And now you end up with, this is only the third, fourth year of the play-in, and you have the Heat make it out of the play-in into the finals.
Out of the play-in as an 8 seed.
And the Lakers make it out of the play-in into the conference finals.
That's very true as well, too. And then you had Ja one year, knocked out the Warriors, who, on paper, if there wasn't playing, they would have been in the playoffs.
Yep.
So anything can happen. I like it as well, too. Random, but what was your thoughts on Jimmy Butler's new look, man? He had the emo look. You think he was just kind of going through because they weren't able to get Damian Lillard? I know last year he trolled, obviously, when he had the fake dreads.
Bro is a troll.
Troll?
He's already back to his regular hair.
Oh, for real?
Yes, he just does this every year at Media Day because he knows whatever picture they take on Media Day is going to be the picture they have to use for him all year.
He was looking like Prince in
He's
that
ridiculous. But I saw this. They had this video of him taking his pictures with Bam and Tyler Hero, and Bam was like, "Bro, this is ridiculous." And he was like, "Hey, this is my Halloween." I had to respect it. I'm like, "Hey, bro, do you?"
I mean, that just makes me think of the Chappelle Show back in the day where Prince just hooping and balling on niggas.
Yes.
I was like, I kind of want you to keep this look and just game blouses. You know what I'm saying? Man. That would have been kind of lit, just cooking niggas like that.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing if he actually, even if it's just 1 or 2 games in these ridiculous hairstyles. But I do also get it's, when he be on the court, it's completely different.
Killer. Straight killer. Do you think the Nuggets can repeat? I mean, they lost Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. Looks like Braun's going to have to take that next step. Jamal Murray is finally healthy going into the season, no rehab. And, Joker's a reigning MVP. They make jokes, media day. Joker say he barely touched the basketball, but I know when you're a great player, you there. We just not seeing it, but I can kind of believe it too. But what are your thoughts on the Nuggets? You think they can definitely repeat as champions, man?
I mean, I'll say something about that, him not touching the basketball thing real quick. What does he need to improve on?
Nothing.
His end of the day, he's as big as he is, so he can't increase his foot speed to be an all-world defender, but he proved last year and throughout the playoffs and the finals that like I can at least be good enough. I'm not just I can block shots, I can be a brick wall, other things like that. But offensively, and that's why to me I think he should have won MVP again last year. There are 0 holes in his game.
Yeah,
0.
And we already know he's not known for being a defensive player, so that's just what it is. But, when it's just straight post defense, I mean, like you say, he's big as hell, 7 feet. Sometimes he can angle himself. Yeah. He can drive him to the baseline, basically out of bounds. He can swipe. He's kind of slept on a little bit, but, yeah, he literally has no weakness.
I mean, especially, like, he was bodying up AD.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like AD. That's why I said when AD was playing a lot of the smaller people, he was going crazy. But when he finally started actually having to bang with somebody his size, of course he still put up decent numbers, but it just wasn't, it wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your original question, I think that the Nuggets absolutely can repeat still.
Yeah.
Because, again, to me, and, we'll see how this season plays out, but coming into the season, I feel like they have the best player in the league. Jamal Murray is another year, removed from any surgeries and finally coming into a season healthy. Michael Porter Jr. hopefully will continue to at least improve and play a little bit more consistently. They did. Losing Bruce Brown was big, but I think that they can overall kind of make up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I mean, I look at the West. It's crazy we say, like, in the East, I feel like there's 2 teams. In the West, it's a lot. It's a lot of good teams that I feel like have a shot, but I also think at the same time that means they're gonna cannibalize each other in a way of a lot of those good teams are gonna be on the lower side of the bracket, so they're not gonna have to play all of them in the playoffs.
That's true. Speaking of these teams, my next topic I wanted to ask you: who you think is going to be the favorite in the East, and who you think is going to be the favorite in the West?
I think it's gonna be the Celtics. I mean, not the Celtics. The Bucks. I do think it's gonna be the Bucks being the favorite, especially at least just going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Nuggets have to be the favorite in the West because
reigning champions.
Nobody else did anything. Like Phoenix added Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. But nobody else in the West had any monumental moves.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't put anybody at least preseason ahead of them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I was going back and forth between the Bucks and the Celtics. I just think the Bucks are, just especially having Dame, just a new form of life. I think they're just going to be hungry. And I feel like Giannis wants to right some wrong, especially the way they went out. So as of right now, I probably got them as the favorites in the East. And then the West, I know you're asking these players, like you said, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jamal's removed from health. But I don't really know about depth matters, man, especially for 82-game grind. But there's a classic saying, I like my WWE Triple H, to beat the man, you got to beat the man. Right now, I'm kind of gravitating towards the Suns or the Lakers as being the favorites right now. I need a little sample size with the Nuggets to see how, because I feel like Bruce Brown's gonna really, really hurt them. Like, people sleep on that. But that's just how it goes, man. People got to get paid. But right now, I'm a 2-way tie between the Suns and the Lakers right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's favorites right now.
I definitely, the Lakers are always going to be in the mix with, having LeBron. I just am not sold on. I do like the Suns in that trade with DeAndre Ayton, got a lot more defense and got more role players. And I like Nurkic for them more than Ayton. But going back to injury prone.
He is injury prone.
Yeah,
I think I was looking it up. I don't remember last time he played over 60 games.
Exactly. So
it's a tough one.
That will be.
Do you think he stays a little bit more healthier because of the trio that they have? So he's.
No, because it's not like he was having to do a whole lot. He was. I know, Dame they didn't have the same core around them, but he was already in a situation where he was around high volume scorers. That's for sure.
That's true.
And he still, he was breaking his leg and other stuff like that. Like, I don't even know if it had anything to do with his workload. I just think, bro, is brittle.
Yeah.
So that's their only real size. Of course, KD has size, but he has no strength in that regard. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially when Booker and Beal are not defensive players either. Mm-hmm. And honestly, just having three guys that all are used to having the ball in their hands and, not having an actual traditional point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there's just a lot more unknowns with them. Yeah.
Okay. I can see that. I always want to say the Clippers, but, you have to – I believe in injury proneness, right? Some players are just more likely to get injured than others. Anybody can get hurt, but, I always, moving forward – as much as I love Kawhi, it's just I got to wait till the playoffs time. But they did play well. After they got Russell Westbrook, Kawhi's minutes went up before PG went down. They were on a roll. But that's the big unknown right there. In the perfect world, if they relatively healthy, both play 60 games, I can see them getting the top 2-3 seed. But right now, I ain't going to worry about that.
Didn't Kawhi tear his ACL last year?
So 2 years ago, he tore his ACL. And then he had a little small meniscus tear.
Okay, that's what. Because he played a little bit in the playoffs. Then he
played 2 games. Yeah, and he tore his meniscus. But he said he's fully healthy. Had a little cleanup procedure. He's good to go. We will see.
Sure, bro.
So we will see. But yeah, go back to what we said. Right now, I'm gonna go with 2-way tie Lakers, Suns in the West, and then in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks for sure.
Also, people sleep real quick on
the Kings.
Nah.
Oh,
really.
What? Okay.
They still have to be better on defense. I don't. To me, Sabonis really got exposed. I don't think he's going to be an amazing playoff performer. Because I feel like we see, especially in today's NBA, shooting just matters a lot. And he doesn't really have a shot for real.
Yeah.
So I think, and their defense, I think there's a lot of teams that can score. They, of course, consistently have an amazing offense, but when it comes to the playoffs, a lot of other teams can step it up. So we'll see. But
Sabonis was also hurt last year in the playoffs, and Fox got hurt too.
Yeah, but
they were only 5 games behind the Nuggets last year. The Nuggets lost their depth. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah. But what team were you talking about?
Sabonis got hurt during the playoffs, though. He was already not playing amazing.
That's true.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the Pelicans, I don't see them. I'm not saying necessarily
the same way you view Kawhi, man. That's how I'm viewing Zion.
That's exactly the key. If Zion is healthy,
because they were number 1 seed last year for a little bit before Zion got hurt, right?
They're one of those teams when you have maybe that one of those Cavs teams where they actually had people around LeBron, or even like this Lakers team where, if you were to take LeBron off, they're not going to be a great team. But if you put him back in there, it's a perfect system around him.
Yeah.
And the team is perfect around Zion. He just has to actually want to be on the court.
Because the media day, they kind of asked some questions basically they're trying to figure out, why weren't you playing last year?
Yeah, we never
kind of just float around that answer. Yeah. So we going to see what happens with that. But that would be great. We need that. We need Zion.
Speaking of all this, I feel bad for Luka, bro, because he ain't in nobody's conversations. The Mavs aren't in. Nobody thinks that they're
not, bro. They're deep. Their team is terrible.
Yeah.
Luka and Kyrie gonna give you points. They're gonna score a lot, but they're not gonna get no stops. That's a terrible construction for that team. I love Kyrie as a player, but they should have just, at the time when Jalen Brunson was up for his extension, give him that money for the low, and then you could have put more pieces around them, and they would have been fine for the next 3 to 5 years. But
because Kyrie's contract is more than Jalen Brunson's, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
And then they still got Dwight Powell, Tim Hardaway Jr.
His role
players. They're just taking up all that money. Ugh.
Yeah. Honestly, Mark Cuban is not great at building teams. He's really not. He's just gotten lucky twice, in drafting generational European players.
Yeah.
But for me, you won one ring with Dirk his whole time there, and the year after y'all won the ring, you traded everybody away.
You did say that in the previous episodes, yeah.
And then now with Luka, I mean, luckily Luka's still, 24 or something like that, so he still has time, but you haven't put anything amazing around him either. Jalen Brunson was a second-round pick, so I feel like, again, that's a success story, but not a case of you really adding in an asset that you thought was about to, be a difference maker off the bat.
Sometimes investments aren't good because on paper it would have been nice to have had Porzingis paired with Luka and then Brunson, and then you build around them. But I think it's going to be one of those other things too. How we just talked about Embiid earlier. Luka going to probably be like, "Yo, I'm out." When have we ever actually seen a
Luka
international player like demand out type shit? A lot of people like to say, "Oh, he's going to be for life for Dallas," but he want to win too.
Luka might be another one of those guys. I mean, we'll see, but and it's very early, but Luka might be another one of those guys who has all the regular season accolades and all that, and either never gets to the finals or doesn't win one.
Yeah, that sucks. Are there any young players you are excited to see this upcoming season that could possibly have a breakout year? And when I say young players, excluding rookies.
Okay, I was gonna say because everybody's excited. I think that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
but I mean, luckily I'm a Pistons fan. I'm from Detroit, so we got all of our team. I'm excited to see Cade. Hopefully, he will be back and be healthy this year. Jaden Ivey, I think, is gonna be better. Durant is gonna be better. That whole team is just full of young players. And even though I know we're not speaking of rookies, but Thompson, I think, is gonna be dope too. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see what happens in Houston with Jalen Green, because to me, this is about the year where hopefully he should actually be proven that he's more than just points.
Yeah.
And OKC, because at least out of all the young teams, OKC is the closest to contention. So I think they could really make some noise or at least disrupt a lot of people's seasons next year.
Okay.
Because Giddey, I think Shai is already
established.
Yes,
and he's a media darling right now.
Yeah, it's hard for me
if
to see
they get a 4
him,
seed, they go fuck around and give him MVP.
Yeah, I was saying it's hard for me to see him averaging more than he did last year. And if he does, he's definitely going to win first team or something like that. But I'm more excited to see, what happens with Giddey and Jalen Williams and the other Jalen Williams they got too. Holmgren finally going to get to play. So
rookie. How do you feel about that? Like, because it opened my eyes when it was Donovan Mitchell versus Ben Simmons. It's like, can you really count Chet as a rookie because he hasn't played, but he still has had time to actually work on his game, have time to see what it is to be a professional, actually travel with the team, figure out everything as opposed to just being tossed into the fire.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit unfair, but at the same time, if you don't play a single minute in your rookie season and it's because of an injury, to me, your rookie that's like your first year playing. If you didn't play.
Because, but we seen, like we said, Ben Simmons, we seen Blake Griffin come in and just dominate, you know what I'm saying, a rookie year. Yeah. So,
but also, to me, part of that is if you look at rookies back before it was one and done, they used to come in and be really good.
That's true.
Because they were older. They actually took time. Like now, we draft so many players off of potential and being able to develop them into those players. Where when you're already older and you're in your grown man body and other things like that, like you're going to come in better.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess to answer my question for breakout young players, I'm thinking young players like 24 and under type shit. In the West, you kind of already took. I was thinking about Josh Giddey a little bit too, but I think he might be a good six man if what's the coach's name? Can't think of the coach's name right now. Phoenix coach. What's his name?
I forgot who they hired.
The old Lakers coach.
Oh, Ham?
No, not Ham before that. Who's that?
Vogel.
Frank Vogel. Hey, man, they always talk about freaking nature's Bobo. Who knows? Maybe he might.
Is he still in Orlando?
He's in Phoenix now.
Oh, he's in. Oh,
So he might be 6-man potentially. I've seen glimpses. That's my pick in the Western Conference in the East. I want to see what Jordan Poole talking about in Washington. He gonna be the number one option. So I just want to see it.
he about to just be Bradley Beal. I can score a bunch of points. My team gonna suck. Like that's all they did.
So those would be my two right there.
I feel bad for just as an aside, but I feel bad for Washington because they really actually had a squad before John Wall got injured.
Yeah.
And since then it's been nothing.
Shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just got from the top down, just start over.
But they're another one of those teams, like we talk about Portland starting over. I see potential. I see all of that. Like, yeah, they brought in Jordan Poole, and we'll see what he's gonna turn into. But I really still don't see any type of direction from Washington right now.
Nah. Nope.
Yeah,
that's tough. I also love my boy Tyrese Halliburton. I'm excited to see him this year with that team going. I don't know what they're gonna. I think they're gonna be a playing team, but they're gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah,
how we like the Kings. I think they're gonna put up a lot of points. Breakout rookies. I mean, I'm sure we have the consensus with Wemby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of course most excited to see him, but I am also very excited to see how Scoot plays and the Thompson twins,
especially the one in Houston. Because sorry about what's homie's name that's done now on Houston. Kevin Porter Jr.?
Kevin Porter Jr., yeah, that's
so
crazy.
This is a blessing in disguise for
Thompson.
Yeah.
He's about to have way more minutes.
Because I feel like Fred VanVleet kind of had, with that J.J. Redick deal he had with Philadelphia 76ers, got paid a lot up front. But as seasons progress, as long as he's on that contract, his role is going to kind of decrease significantly.
Yeah, because he's already older too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, I'm really, for me, I just like, you don't see twins drafted in like the top 6 of the draft, let alone both of them being successful. So I think that would be really, really dope if both of them end up. And so far, honestly, in preseason, they both look great.
Yeah.
I mean, Summer League.
Yeah.
So
especially the Rockets one. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
We're going to see. All right, in our last segment of the day, Real Rapper Cap. So we can go ahead and get started. Real Rapper Cap, Joel Embiid will request a trade by the trade deadline.
Cap. I don't. He's not that type. At least definitely not during the season. Mm-hmm. Maybe something might happen after the season, but I just don't see him. He's not at that Dame level yet.
Yeah.
Dame went through it for a lot longer before he finally
decade.
And especially in terms of the way he talks, all the time is like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So, and of course I know that's hard to believe with some of these players, but I'm gonna say Cap.
I'm gonna say Cap too. I don't think he wants added, shots his way as well too. I think he's a professional, and if anything, it will be in the off season as well too. So I have to agree with you. Real Rapper Cap, the Grizzlies will be safe out west without Ja to start the season.
Cappuccino.
This
is not. The West is stacked.
Mm-hmm.
The West is deep, and I like we're saying, they're not all necessarily teams that I feel like can win the title, but there are teams that can definitely take a lot of your wins away, can be problems. Mm-hmm. And so it's especially, I'm looking at the standings right now, like it was so bunched up between 40 and 50 wins last year. Mm-hmm. You have 9 teams, within that frame. So even looking at the Lakers, like it took a lot for them to be able to fight their way back up to 7 from a bad start.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to be okay. I think for sure they're going to make the playoffs, or at least for sure the play-in, which I think they'll make the playoffs as well. But I don't think this is another one of their 50-win seasons.
I think they'll stay afloat and be above 500 just because of history. I was looking up a stat. I think they're, 37-24 without Ja ever since he's been hurt, 60% win percentage. Granted, they lost Dylan Brooks, but added Marcus Smart. I don't know if D-Rose is going to play or not. Obviously, JJJ is going to step up his game. Desmond Bane got paid. It seemed like they got a great coach. So I'm gonna say real rap. They'll stay afloat. And then when Ja comes back, they probably like you said, they're probably gonna fight for a play-in for sure. Real rapper Cap. The in-season tournament will be competitive like the playoffs.
Right now, I'm gonna say Cap. I just don't think the incentive is there. But kind of like I was saying earlier, I'm hoping to be proven wrong. We'll see, when it happens.
Okay. Real rapper Cap. Wemby will be rookie of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna say real rap.
You ain't sound too confident with that.
I mean, I think it is. Chet is really like the same profile as him. Of course, I know Wemby is more. He's more athletic. He's taller. He can do some of these things, but they're both kind of like these freaks of nature type dude. And I think a lot of the role that Wemby, like, I don't know if they're going to ask him to be
the guy
right away.
And that's how I feel about Chet too, because you got the Williams brothers. I mean the Jay Williams.
Yep.
You got Shea, and then you got Giddey.
Yeah, but I think in that same regard, it's going to be, even if they don't ask him to do as much, it's going to be easier for him because he's going to be playing next to a lot of talent.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a lot more open looks, a lot better setups, and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then now Dame is gone. I think Scoot is going to have free range. So for me, I think that Wemby is going to be the best rookie, but I don't know necessarily if he's going to be rookie of the year.
Okay. So if you had to do rookie of the year, you think it's going to Scoot?
I think just opportunity wise, he does have
the position he plays too.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be the point guard.
I'm gonna go with Scoot. Yeah, I think Scoot gonna be rookie of the year too. That's my pick. Yeah, he's gonna have more touches.
Because also, I feel like Wemby, in a similar way to Giannis, needs to a year or two to bulk up as well to really be, I feel like who he can be.
Yeah. What position do you? I mean, I know it's positionless, but like, what position do you see him playing like in the long run? Basically, like a Giannis, power forward.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I think, he'll definitely play a lot of 5 because he's going to be the tallest person on the court at all times, no matter what. But I think to start off, like a lot of these guys, I think to start off, he's probably play the 4 just because he's kind of slight. But probably I know they'll want to move him down to the 5 if they can. But I think they still have Podol. I know they traded him to the Raptors.
Back to the Raptors, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that actually leaves it even more open for him.
Random, but I forgot another player I was interested to see. They like to compare him to Sabonis/Joker, was the center for the Rockets.
Sengun?
Yeah. I wonder how he's going to get utilized by, what's the coach's name?
Udoka.
Yeah.
They always want to compare all these European players, man. I don't.
But he looks good.
He definitely isn't bad. He can't shoot. He doesn't have a 3-point shot.
Oh, yeah, Sabonis has nigga.
Yeah. But he's skilled. He's very highly skilled, which, that's the thing you're going to get from a lot of these European players because they tend to really learn the game of basketball because they can't just rely on athleticism. But I don't know if I see like a super breakout year for him because he's, again, one of those players. A lot of his minutes being capped has to do with defensive limitations. And they're not going to be a great team, but I think they are going to be trying to win games.
Yeah.
So, unless he's improved there, it's hard to keep him on the court for extended periods of time.
Okay. Real rapper Cap, James Harden will play another game for Daryl Morey.
I don't know if James Harden's going to play this season.
Ooh, we're going to get the John Wall treatment?
I really don't know. But the thing is, if he doesn't show up,
he's not going to get paid, right?
Well, I think, yes, he doesn't get paid, but also he can't sign with anybody else. If you hold out in the last year of your contract,
CBA, right?
Yes, then you can't sign. He can't even sign with the foreign league. They'll still own his rights. So it's like he has to show up. He has to show up or get traded, and it don't look like he's getting traded.
Wow.
I feel like if he had been less messy about this, he could have got traded because then teams would have wanted to give up more. But because you made this such a public thing, you've driven your value so low that the asset that you are, it just doesn't make sense for us to trade you for pennies on the dollar.
That's true. Last but not least, random real rapper cap. Team USA will win the Olympics next year.
Oh, that's rap. That's real rap. That's easy. Everybody gonna hop in again. I mean, last year in Tokyo, or 2 years ago in Tokyo, we really just had Tatum, KD, and Book, I think, and the rest of the team was kind of average.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot more, and we still, we won then, and we have a lot more stars that are at least saying that they want to play now. And I think we're also in a good period of a lot of young players are coming into more of their primes or better stages of their career. And usually a lot of the young players want to play too. So I think they're really well positioned to at least have a deep talent pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not worried about, even if, say, right now today I feel like the best player in the world is Jokic, and so we won't have him on our team. Collectively, nope. Like, he's the only one. Again, he's the only one from his country that's probably going to be playing. Same with Luka, is the only real NBA player from his country is going to be playing. Versus we're going to have as many All-Stars and All-NBA players as we want. Yeah. So,
and if the GM has anything to say about it, that team's going to be good. I probably just have like Eric Spoelstra or Ty Lue be the coach.
I think still Greg Popovich right now.
I thought it was Steve Kerr. Or was Steve Kerr just for the World Cup?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I hope it's Greg. That would be great. But Steve Kerr be wilding. We're going to see. But, yeah, I agree with you. I just – they should win. So I'm going to say real rap. But I'm going to be excited to see Team Canada.
Canada is getting a lot better.
Canada's going to be good. France, you can never count them out. Argentina's always solid. And we'll see what Australia does. Ben Simmons says he wants to play. We never know with Kyrie Irving.
Let him play. That'll be great.
So it should be interesting. But any closing remarks or anything you want to say for episode 134, season 3, the beginning?
Man, just looking forward to the start of the season. Loving football season right now, but the best time of the year for me is when we got ball going on.
Are you a Lions fan?
I am. Yes. Hey, so it's finally
fuck
a
with
good year.
Jared Gosling. That's my guy.
Yeah, I really. I hated on Jared Goff, and I still kind of do, but we have a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
So
you be airing them up out.
You do.
Y'all should win the division.
Yeah, especially, Green Bay ain't Green Bay anymore, and the Chicago
Bears are Vikings.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I think it's finally our time.
Okay. Any hot takes with the NFL? I think everything goes through San Fran in the NFC.
Oh yeah, I got Christian McCaffrey on one of my fantasy teams. He got me like 40 points last week, bro. Yeah, the Niners are stacked.
Yeah,
crazy. I think that what they did with Trey Lance is really wild and fucked up. But I think that they're the best position right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, injuries always, especially in the NFL, come into play. But
I think it's a collision course set for 49ers versus, I'm biased, Ravens. I was gonna say the Bills, but they lost Tre'Davious White. That's gonna suck.
It's crazy. I knew he tore his shit as soon as it happened because he looked. What they say every time is it feels like somebody like hit you on exactly, and he looked back at his shit like who. And a day later, I was like, "Yep."
Yeah. So we gonna see that.
And
defense.
he just tore his ACL. I think it might be a wrap for him, which sucks.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row, right?
But he did get a contract right before, so at least that's good.
Yeah. Damn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 134, a.k.a. the start of season 3 of the Seezus Show. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Excited for this NBA season to take off, and we're going to see what is in store. Carl Conyers, make sure to follow him on Instagram, all forms of social media, at TheSeezusShow, at Sir Seezus. Shout out to Payne for always being that guy behind the scenes.
Definitely.
And we out.